Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, a variety show including games, movies, wrestling, and the occasional interview. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and today I am joined once again, but for his first time solo, by Justin. Justin, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it.
Of course.
If you guys want to catch this podcast live, you go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You could drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, and you can join in on the fun and the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, like, shares, reviews, subscriptions, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. So yes, Justin's back on today for his solo episode, and I wanted to pick his brain about video games. We've talked games, obviously, throughout our lives that we've known each other here and there, what we're playing, what we enjoy. But Justin, I don't think I've really ever super dived into your history with games. It's just been kind of like, oh, this is really cool, oh, this is fun, like in the moment kind of stuff. So yeah, I kind of wanted to see what your road has been with the games.
So I'm the youngest of four.
Okay.
Got two older brothers and a younger sister, and an older sister. My two brothers shared a room, and I shared a room with my sister.
Okay.
That's pretty much the only thing I did in there was sleep.
Mm.
I spent the rest of my time in their room where they had the Legos and the TV with the video games. So definitely started off like, I think the first system we had at our home was a Nintendo 64.
Okay.
My grandmother had a NES that we would play like Duck Hunt and Mario. And I had some cousins that had a Sega Genesis. We'd play different like Vector Man and Sonic's big catalog of games. But I just realized how much I really kind of played with my siblings a lot and had a lot of fun with them. I mean, just making fun of each other for doing something silly in the game, or getting really competitive with another aspect, or doing something cooperatively, and just kind of having a real fun time, just laughing and just shooting the crap with them. So
nice.
No, I was pretty young. I think I was like 6 or 7. I feel like. I'm sure I could do the math better if I look back at when the Nintendo 64 was released, but I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like that's about how old I was. Yeah.
Do you remember
kind of ever since then? Just.
Oh, sorry. Do you remember your first game you played on the 64, or maybe ever?
First game I ever played was probably not even on console. We definitely did road trips. I had family that lived in. So I lived in South Carolina growing up, and I had family on my father's side that lived in New York. So a lot of long road trips with like a Game Boy. And everyone taking turns with Mario or Tetris. I never really played too much Pokemon. And then my brother got some sort of weird off-brand handheld control game that was from Radio Shack. And I don't know the name of the game. It was more or less like a snake, where you would eat your creature or figure would get longer and more advanced on the screen. It's like trying not to run into itself. So I remember like the puzzle aspect of that and really enjoying it as a kid. I would say the first game we probably had on the 64 was Episode 1 Racer, Pod Racer. Played the heck out of that. It was, a lot of fun.
Okay.
Then I had a cousin who had Super Smash Brothers, and I think that's probably the first game I got into that was like really competitive.
Okay.
I was also mad that my younger cousin was better at me than at it, so I had to get better than him at it. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Nice. So you kind of alluded to it. So after that initial introduction to it with the Super Nintendo and the 64, what was your path after that?
We did a weird thing where, where you normally would probably get the newer consoles and progress. We actually, what I guess you could call from a graphical standpoint, a downgrade, but obviously a catalog impressive. We got a PlayStation. We traded in the 64 for a PlayStation. And just really invested heavily in that with a lot of different games. The Dreamcast came out not long after and I remember there being some sort of emulator disc you could put in called the Bleamcast,
Okay.
and it would let you play Dreamcast games on your PlayStation as
Oh.
long as you like inserted this disc before. So we played like Gran Turismo a lot. I really like simulation racing games. Um, and it did like a graphical overhaul. It kind of updated the polygon count,
Mm-hmm.
some of the frame rate issues, but more or less pretty much a faithful just successor to that original platform game. So spending hours just doing exhibition races, like 200 laps, and a Honda Civic. But we loved it. We would all just my neighbor would come down. And we would all just my brother and I would trade the controllers. Like, yeah, you get 50 laps, hand it to me, and we'll get 50 laps. And I know cheat codes were a thing back then more so than they are now.
Sure.
We had some fun putting those into some games and getting really silly with them. But um, we played the Dreamcast for a little bit after that too, and then got GameCube. Obviously, continuing with like the Super Smash Brothers series. I do feel like a lot of my Nintendo devices became Super Smash Brothers machines.
Sure.
It's like the only one of the few games I would have on it.
Mm-hmm.
If I played other games, it was usually at someone else's house. I don't know if I really even invested in other games on the consoles than that. And then there was a point in time where we had Xboxes, like when Halo was at its peak. Definitely getting home after work and playing Halo 3 online with some people and having a real good time with that. Sorry, I'm just bopping my cat with a
You're
stick.
good.
And then I don't know. I think I'm trying to remember why we switched over. My friend and I switched over to PlayStation, which is what I have now. Sure. I do have a Switch as well, but we've been pretty PlayStation heavy for a minute. I think we played the first Destiny and got into that pretty heavy, and obviously that went into Destiny 2. But I know that people get kind of toxic with which console is better. I don't think it really matters at all. I mean, obviously, it's even easier now. It's even easier now with cross-platform abilities and stuff. But no, that's what we have now. That's what I have now is a PS5. Finally, got one of those. It did take a minute. We started seeing them pop up in stores down here, and I saved up some money for it. So that's been really nice. I've really been enjoying it.
Nice, excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. So it seems like a lot of the journey, especially early on, was that cooperative play. Was that more of the genre that you guys gravitated towards just because obviously more of you guys could play at that time, or were there single-player experiences that you guys delved into?
Back then, the only single-player game I could really think of, and that's even before we had like online play, was probably like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Single session. It did get into obviously some multiplayer aspects you can do, but we had a small TV, and so that was a little hard to see split screen on some things. So like even if a game honestly even had split screen capabilities, there's certain games that we didn't even use that functionality with. Probably an exception to that would have been like Halo when it came out. We did do quite a bit of cooperative Halo, my brother and I. And then as an adult now, there are a few games I really enjoy the single player experience. So like I know you were talking about Spider-Man. Really excited about that next one coming out.
Nice.
The Last of Us series have been really great. I super enjoy this. There's a lot of games I've actually watched friends play, and I've never really played them.
Sure.
I know a lot about them just like by watching. So friends have played like Dead Space. It took a minute. I did get into the Mass Effect trilogy. I watched someone play that for quite some time, and played Alan Wake. A couple other games that are just single player. But no, I'd argue that a large part of my growing up, and even now, so like playing online with friends, it's very easy, of course, more than it used to be. But no, I would argue that a lot of my gaming history has been cooperative. And friends and family that I live near or that were in the same house as me, of course, and then even so now, like online with some friends too. So it's probably my preference. I definitely do enjoy sitting down with a single player story and diving into that and discussing it with people afterwards, like story implements or gameplay mechanics and stuff that are really fun. But I probably do stick more with the multiplayer aspect.
All right. So you mentioned Smash as one of your standouts that you really enjoyed growing up. What were some other games that kind of stuck out to you as like favorites?
Be remiss if I didn't say Ocarina of Time. absolutely loved that as a kid, and it got me into Zelda pretty hardcore as well. Like I will not say that I've played every one of the games since then. Obviously, the first Zelda and Zelda 2 especially had very different gameplay styles. How they
Sure.
were like over the top, or even like side scrolling with Zelda 2. Um, with Ocarina of Time coming out and introducing a 3D environment, I found the controls really intuitive. With especially later on when you got your XY axis on joysticks kind of became popular with like the PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
DualShock system. I really do like open world games, so The Legend of Zelda kind of stood out to me. I don't know why. I really like games with bows and arrows. So that, of course, just really filled that niche and the puzzle aspect for it too. So I've really enjoyed following that series and playing any of the new games that come out. I haven't even finished Tears of the Kingdom, but
Mm.
I'm getting pretty close to the end of that, I think. Uh, it is nice to play games that have um, a lot of, you can put a ton of hours into side quests and stuff. You really feel like you get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like Zelda games do that quite a bit for me. Um, we dived a little bit into Mario Kart 2. I do have that as well. I do enjoy it. I'll probably play it more like in a party setting with some friends.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know if there's like other than Smash and Zelda. I don't know if there's any other franchise games that I like make a point of getting every single time they come out.
Sure.
Obviously, sometimes games either they don't have no more. The story is finished. There's no more sequels to them, or they've changed production teams and spiritual successors to them, or what have you. But I do like dipping my toes into games that I probably wouldn't have normally considered. So like obviously indie games are a lot of fun, and a lot there's not something that was available before, so you can get a lot of different types of play styles and experiences through those, and art direction and soundtracks and stuff. So I really have had a lot of fun with those. I mean, honestly, not to toot your horn, but I think you're the person that kind of got me into those too, just
Mm.
exploring what's available from the PlayStation Store or what other people are coming out with. So I do appreciate that. Like
Sure.
we've had a lot of fun looking at some really bizarre things that people have come up with,
Sure.
it's just a good time
Good.
all around.
All right. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. Play more indies, everybody.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot of positives. Is there any type of genre of game that maybe you don't connect with a lot? That just you've tried it out, just doesn't for some reason click or seem interesting?
Um, I I I do feel like turn-based RPGs
Okay.
are a little bit hard for me to engage in. The most prominent one that comes to my mind is in the Final Fantasy realm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm under the impression, I could be incorrect, I don't keep up with it too well anymore, but I think the new ones kind of stray away from that in a sense, like or it's done in a way that it's not so blatantly obvious.
Yeah, so for example, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, they did this very hybrid style where it's action all the time, you're in control, and you can control your party members almost like a turn based, so you could toggle over to them,
Hmm.
pick a move. So that they kind of did the hybrid style. And then from what I've heard of 16, it's very akin to like a Devil May Cry series gameplay.
Hmm.
So that's just go with that. But yeah, I understand. The originals were definitely that turn based style.
I did. I can't remember which one it was. I honestly feel like it might have been Seven Remake. I
Mm.
did play a demo, or I think it was a demo of it, and I did enjoy it enough. I didn't feel like I had time to really implement that into like a game library sense
Yeah.
that I could put into it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very visually impressive, and I was surprised that I liked that mechanic more than because it's obviously changed a little bit. Like
Sure.
you said, it's not exactly how it was before. So, but that's probably the one thing I don't get into as much is like turn-based RPGs. Like I understand like Final Fire Emblem,
Mm-hmm.
I think has that implement too, and there's so many of those games too. I think a little bit can seem daunting.
Sure.
Like where do you start?
Yeah.
I'm under the impression the Final Fantasy games are thematically similar but different stories.
Yeah, each one
So
is
I don't.
separate. Yeah.
It's the Final Fantasy of that world or universe or whatever. So I don't think it's so important to know what's going on before the previous title. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. There's only a few Final Fantasies that I think are directly connected, like, and I think they stick with their naming system, like a 10 and a 10-2, and 13, I believe, had 2 or 3. But yeah, other than that, it's just, the common fantasy element. They each have their own stories, and some people like, obviously, a few a few over the rest. Like 7's a big standout. I believe 8 has its cult following. 9, I can't remember. 14 is the whole online community, which is still going, playing that MMO.
Yep.
And then you got 15 with the boy band going around. And then
funny.
And then 16 people have been enjoying from what I've heard so far this year. So
as long as I will say I do really appreciate the art direction in those games. Obviously the swords and the weaponry is just fantastical. Enormous, or just interesting things that probably don't follow any sort of laws of physics.
Sure.
So I've always thought those were really cool. I do like seeing the art style for that. I think it's really nice to have. So once again, that's kind of one of those things. Even if I don't delve into it, I do like seeing like people enjoy them quite a bit. So, I don't want to yuck someone's yum.
Sure.
Though I say that I am judgmental a little bit with sports games.
Okay.
Which I, by their nature, of course, like they're going to stick with like the mechanics are going to stay the same because the sport stays the same.
Sure.
How you score, what the point of the game is there, and like obviously rosters changed, and so there are new gameplay is just not for me personally. Sure. I'm not trying to manage a football team or a soccer team and find joy in that, but some people really do like that kind of analytical aspect to things. So I've never been one to like. I think the last sports game I owned was NBA Showtime on the Dreamcast, and you could dunk from like the 3-point line. Like it's like an arcade basketball game, like NFL Blitz or something, just over the top. I do enjoy those, but anything that's like a simulation for sports has not really been my cup of tea.
Sure.
I haven't owned one of those in probably 15-20 years. So.
All right.
Sorry, EA.
Well,
you don't get that money from me.
I was gonna say they dug their own hole for a little while. They're making a resurgence, but oh boy, yikes. So you mentioned the multiplayer aspect, playing with friends. What now seems to be some go-tos that you will dive into some friends when you got the time?
So I guess it comes with the territory just getting older and people's lives doing what they do. So it's a lot less cooperative, like couch co-op.
Sure.
Playing with friends. I've got a friend that just moved to Japan. My good friend moved to just outside of DC in Reston. And my brother lives back in Charlotte. I'm out in Asheville area, so we don't see each other very much. And he's got more of a family than I do. That a kid that he takes care of, my nephew. So I don't think he has time to game so much anymore. But so that being said, it is probably more online play. Really been getting into Rocket League lately.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I think I played it quite a while ago when it was not even free to play. And I did have a friend talk me into it recently, and I do feel like I played better without him, which is not even like a dig at him. I don't know if it's like, maybe we both play better without each other, but the point is I do have a really good time playing with him.
Sure.
I'm not super competitive. Of course I like to win, but who doesn't? But I'm not trying to put a controller on my wall. So, Rocket League, I actually have surprisingly not touched Smash Brothers in a minute, mostly because I've been deep into Tears of the Kingdom. That's my Switch game. I've got a Battlefield game that I touch every once in a while. It is fun. I don't really play that with anybody. I haven't played Destiny in a minute. So I also don't feel like I play as much as I used to.
Sure.
But that being said, like I am excited about Spider-Man coming out. I never did play the newest Jedi Survivor.
Yep.
Which I'm excited about too, but I'll probably get into that after Spider-Man, honestly. So that's kind of the games I'm into. Jamie plays some Minecraft here and there with some friends.
Cool.
It's pretty passive. I don't think they just have some fun with it and stuff. But there's a couple of games in my catalog. I did play God of War. That was a lot of fun. I've got Alan Wake remastered I've never touched, and then I have a friend that really recommended that to me, so I'll see if I can get around to that at some point too. But it almost feels like the free games that come every month are quicker than I can play them.
Sure.
So I'm not trying to have a Steam library with 400 games in it that
Sure.
I can't get to. So whatever.
Hey, I mean, it's
Yeah,
smart
that's kind of my current rotation.
Okay.
I just feel like it's like I do like a FPS kind of fills a niche with like Battlefield, and then there's this kind of whatever, I guess it's sports, goofy RC car soccer game with Rocket League, and then Zelda fill in like this exploration kind of side I like. I haven't touched No Man's Sky in a minute. They do keep doing a lot of updates, and I really appreciate that. But it is like a phase I go through. Like I'll probably get sucked into it again. Like I've put hundreds of hours into it, and it's transformed a lot, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think they're kind of maxing out what they're able to do as far as like engine wise. Like they do keep adding some different elements of gameplay and stuff, but I don't know if that just hasn't caught my attention or interest yet. So we'll see. They, like I said, they're constantly pushing out new content for that. So I'll see if something just catches my eye with a trailer or something. But
sure.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now with games.
Okay. All right. Very cool. So you alluded to Spider-Man a few times. Looking forward to that. Is there anything else on the horizon that you've seen announcements for that you're looking forward to?
Nothing comes to mind. I also don't keep up with it as much as I used to.
Sure.
So there probably are some things that would catch my eye and I'd be interested in. It's not even necessarily a new release. Like I just haven't had time for it either. I was trying to pick up Gran Turismo again, get back into that. That's obviously been available for a little bit now, but that's just like another one of those time things I just need to be able to sink my teeth into.
Sure.
I do like having multiple games to juggle through. I don't want to just have one thing that I'm in, but I think I'm kind of at the capacity of what I can manage at one time. So once Tears of the Kingdom is done, I'm sure I'll just, which I probably could finish up in a week or two before Spider-Man comes. Or I guess it's a week, isn't it? It's Friday.
Yep.
I probably could finish it before then. I don't know if I want to rush through it, but
sure.
I'm really excited about the scope of that game and it being PS5 native. I do feel bad for some of my friends who don't have one, but whatever. At the same time, if I didn't have it, I wouldn't want the game to be released on multiple platforms and kind of squander the performance of it
Sure.
at the same time. So I've definitely been in that boat before where I couldn't play something because it was on a console, a newer gen console that I didn't have, and that can suck. But at the same time, I do want people to have really good gaming experiences. So no, I think Spider-Man and maybe Jedi Survivor are probably the two games I can see myself getting in the future soon that I know of.
All right, cool.
Unless you're surprising me with something.
Well, did you know that it's nothing soon? We've just been talking a lot of Spider-Man and Insomniac. Did you know they're making a Wolverine game?
I did. It's a good call. I don't know. Does it have a release?
No, I think we've only gotten that initial teaser of the bar. I don't think we've gotten any information since, but yeah.
Right. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet either. I just read, because, Instagram is extremely trustworthy with this news source.
100%.
Something about Naughty Dog doing a Last of Us 2 remake?
Yeah, so people are thinking that just because obviously they did Part 1's remaster with the show and everything. It's just assumed that, yeah, they're going to do some kind of remaster for Part 2 with Season 2 and just kind of keep that going on. I wouldn't doubt it. Naughty Dog seems like a big team. Obviously, they've been working on factions for, God, seems like forever. And then they kind of abandoned it recently or said it got too big for its britches. So maybe they can redirect some people over to work on that. So I assume eventually, but I don't know if anything official has come out yet. Yeah.
Obviously would love to hear a Part 3 announcement.
Sure.
Because I didn't even know I wanted a Part 2 with how good the first one was. So I can't pretend that I know what the story would be, but I think they're pretty good storytellers. So if they think it's worth it, and you can quite tell it's like it's their baby. Like they care a lot about that project and that series and that narrative. So like if they feel like it's good enough to produce another game and tell a story there, then I trust that process. So
sure.
I knew the second game was a little divisive with some people for some reason because I thought it was really good because it was atypical
Mm.
with story mechanics, and you didn't always get what you want,
Mm-hmm.
and it was some pretty dark themes in it, which I just really appreciated. Like I don't know, I did see a lot of stuff coming, and I personally find that to be a little brave of a studio to take some chances on some narratives and characters and stuff that you don't really see too much any day or
Mm-hmm.
these days now. So always looking forward to something coming out from them.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Neil, if you're watching,
Yeah, if you
do
are,
it.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. So yeah, I think the last question I got for you, you mentioned indies earlier. Any standout indies you've been playing or have played in the past?
That's why we have. It's an oldie.
Uh-huh.
I really like Surgeon Simulator.
Ah, okay. All right.
That is a lot of fun with someone else. I guess now that I think about it, I guess there is a single player mode for it, but we've never really delved into that too much. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure. Like, I guess it gets into the point where it can obviously depend on who you're playing with, but if you're just trying to have fun with it, finishing the surgery is fine and dandy, but it doesn't even seem like that's usually doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's watch gets stuck inside of an alien, or you stab yourself with a needle and you start to die.
Mm-hmm.
That's a classic that me and Jamie go back to. I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's on PlayStation. I think it's on Switch, and I could be wrong.
There's a lot of indies on Switch.
Why can't I think of it? The character, it's a very colorful game and side scroller. I know you've played it before, and I feel like the character looks kind of like Stitch.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
I wonder if I can find this out. Wait, real quick. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but
Sure.
Ori.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're in the Blind Forest.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Really, really, really like that one. I didn't play it too much. I watched Jamie play Inside,
Mm-hmm.
and what was the? I don't know. I think that's actually the sequel.
Limbo was the first one.
Limbo was the first one. Yes. Don't get too scared in games. I don't know if I don't play a lot of scary games either, but I will say the Inside did scare me.
Huh. Okay.
What is specific? I don't know if it's like I do have a fear of drowning, so there's that.
Sure.
There's this little girl in the water too, who's like her hair is just really long and uncomfortable, and she will chase you in like underwater sequences. It kind of gives me some like old school Mario vibes, where you are underwater sequences where you're really kind of cautiously navigating the environment, but with the girl from The Ring following you in the water. Like, it's just really, really scary. I really enjoyed those two games. I'm not quite sure who the studio is that made those. No, and I can't think of anything else I've been had time for in present. Of course, I feel like none of those games are very recent.
Inside's kind of recent.
Not particularly.
Yeah.
I think the most frustrating game I played, an indie game I played, I say frustrating. It was with you, and I can't remember who else played. It was like it's kind of a wrestling fighting game, but you're all very wishy and ragdolly.
Gang Beasts?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gang Beast was it's almost like it's almost uncomfortable. But I know the controller mechanics are meant to be kind of loosey goosey on purpose. But and then we played was it Nar
Star Wall?
Star Wars? Star Wars?
Yep.
Was a lot of fun too. We played with you up there. So like it's kind of a shame I'll miss you this Christmas, because I do feel like that's probably when I play the most indie games and go home and like kind of research those a little bit to get them for myself. So you'll have to mess around a little bit more on the PlayStation Store at some point. Maybe we'll have some time. That's one thing too, is that this time of the year is where we start to look at our subscription services, because we signed off of a lot of them in the summer.
Sure. Because
we were outside doing more things, but now this course going to get more wintry, so we were like, all right, well, what things do we want to invest in, because we're going to be inside more when it's colder. So we'll see if there's any games that really catch either my eye or both of our eyes. She doesn't play as much as me, but there are some things that she does that she really likes to do. So
sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, a few recommendations for you. So We mentioned Gang Beasts. Party Animals just
Mm-hmm.
came out. So that is
Okay, I'm
Gang
making a note.
Beasts with adorable animals. It's on PC and Xbox right now, I believe.
Okay.
And then, obviously, we're cat people. If you want to go through a fun game with a cat, little emotional story.
That's right. So
Stray.
what's that one called?
Stray.
Stray. Yes, I did see that. I completely forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like so much. Is it? You
It's
have a good
good.
time with it?
Very good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned, obviously, looking at the subscriptions. PlayStation Extra, obviously a little bit more expensive. They do have a good indie catalog included in that, so that might be something to kind of
Okay.
at least look at.
Yeah.
What else is there? That's the wrong screen. Where are you? On the Switch, another cat game, ironically, and also puzzle game. There's a game called A Little to the Left. If you guys like
The
organization,
little or a little?
A Little to the Left.
Okay.
So yeah, it's an organization puzzle game, but occasionally a cat will come in and try and like swap pieces away from you and mess with you like that.
It's real life.
Yep. So there's that. Okay, this one I played recently. A little spooky, not more of like an unsettling spooky, not like you're gonna, shit your pants or anything. But you should check out a game called My Friendly Neighborhood. I think that would be up both of your guys' alley. So the synopsis for that is you're a repairman and you're responding to, I don't remember, it's like an electrical tower that's out or whatever. But it's at this old movie TV studio. And they used to film like a Sesame Street-esque type show there. And when you go there, all the puppets are alive. And you have to, like Resident Evil, it's like that gameplay exactly, but you're dealing with these puppets and going from room to room, solving puzzles. So
yeah, I think unsettling is a good word for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever played Control.
Watched it. I haven't played it though.
There's really great game. Honestly, a really impressive physics engine, and story is pretty good too. And gameplay is really well done. Also very visually impressive for, I think it's a PS4 game, and I think it released on PS5 as well.
Yep.
There's collectibles in the game that your character comes across, but one of them is like this TV series of some really disturbing. It's supposed to be like for children, I think. I would never show that to a child. Like it's kind of Muppety, and the characters will be speaking about really complex like physics issues. Like I think they're trying to like make kids understand, but then someone will just kind of become unhinged at some point and randomly scream. So that's the vibe I got from that when you were just telling me about that game. I can't remember their name. Jamie did not like watching that part with me.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, I got all those written down. I'll take a look at those.
Cool.
Thank you.
Of course. I am always happy to recommend stuff. But yeah, Justin, that wraps up topic 1, so let's jump into topic 2. What is your topic today?
So I was thinking about the when you asked me this question before, the relationships that we have with the games that we play, and maybe like why we even play them. And I really was kind of resonating with thinking about like all the memories I've had playing games. And while there are definitely some single player experiences where the game is catered to make you feel like powerful or scared in a corridor, running away from something, like I was thinking about like the experiences I had playing with friends. And all the there's so much variety to it. So I guess a really good example of one that I think a lot of people have kind of resonated with is looking back at it now, depending on the kind of person you are, potentially quite toxic, but the old Halo lobbies or Call of Duty lobbies where everyone's just saying the terrible things to each other. But usually you had like a party of people that you were playing with, and it was a very routine thing for me to come home and just expect to play that with some friends and to get on. And while I would probably classify myself as more of like average to slightly above average skill level with most games that I play. I think I have decent hand-eye coordination and reaction time for certain gameplay mechanics. It wasn't even super important that you were good at them. You were just playing with people.
Sure.
Um, and whether or not that experience is being around people and they see you solve a puzzle together, your team wins, something really ridiculous happens in the game and everyone's laughing at it. Like, I just kind of really resonate with those feelings of connecting with people through games. There are some activities that are, of course, just like you and a single friend doing a cooperative experience. You get some games now that have, maybe like a party of 3, and you're doing a mission together. Sometimes there's like fire teams of 6 people trying to do something. And of course, not that I don't think everyone's talking to each other, but gameplay like Fortnite, where it can potentially be like 50 people, or Battlefield is like 60 people versus each other. And it's kind of feeling like this monumental push towards a goal with a group of people who have like a similar goal in mind, and accomplishing that or failing at it, of course, and kind of feeling like, oh, we didn't get it this time, so let's rally again and get it, or just the feeling of accomplishment when you do win the game with so many other people playing with you. And I really like those memories that it's created for me. Just having I will just be hanging out with some friends and talking about, hey, remember when we did so and so during this game, or I really liked this aspect of it. So I've always really liked the memories that I've created playing games with friends. That doesn't even necessarily coordinate only with video games. Of course, some people are more of like card games, board games, and I think you can create those same kind of experiences to there. But of course, what we're talking about was video games, and that is easier now to do, especially with online capabilities of games. So that's one I have really appreciated that, because I know some people have a preference for single player games, and of course, I really hope publishers continue to produce those kind of games for people like that, and I even enjoy them too. But the ability to play with other people that you don't see anymore, or you see seldom, is I don't know. I find that kind of deep and personal to be able to connect with people and share and have fun with them over a great distance. So I'm really proud, or happy that technology exists, and that publishers are making games that I can have those experiences with people with.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a huge part of gaming in general. Just, yeah, like you said, that shared experience, whether it's going through something together, or yeah, even on the flip side with the single player stuff we talked about earlier, just like sharing that experience, like, oh, how did you react to so and so, or this happening, or whatever. It's I don't know, the only way, or the best way I can compare it to, is like that movie theater going experience, how like everybody's in it, and then as soon as you leave, you're talking about like everything.
Yeah, be careful. Well, and not so much, at least, well, depends on where you are, but
Sure.
I feel bad for people walking into the theater after you.
Yeah,
like, let's step away
Yep.
to our vehicle maybe and discuss this, because
Sure.
I don't want to come out and find out that Dumbledore died.
Right.
Spoilers if anybody, whatever. But we'll discuss, like, what did you think of so and so, or this part of that game, and you sharing in like how well something was done, or how scared you were, or how intense something was. Like, it is nice to, like, people catch things that different people catch different things. Like, did you know? And then some games you can play differently. So, like, you think about the Mass Effect games where you have Paragon and Renegade. I know even some, like, I'm not sure if it was called the same thing, but Knights of the Old Republic games where you can choose like a light or dark side path, and how the story elements might be pretty similar, but you can have different dialogue options and character interactions with people based off of the choices you've made. So I do really like those kind of games too, where you can kind of discuss, like, well, here's what I did, and here's what happened from that. You're like, oh, that's completely different than what I did. I did this, and this is what happened. And it kind of even encourages you to, like, maybe play the game again and see for yourself how that unfolds. So yeah, I really like those kind of games too, where you have an element of choice to play the game a lot of different ways.
Nice. So you kind of you talked about the Halo lobbies. I would say for me, definitely like the Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. That was a big memory point for me. Like, whenever we had the chance, like Charlie and I, that was a big game that we would go to. whether I was crashing at his place or he was crashing at mine. But we would get the 2 TV set up, and we'd just run in there. And God, those maps! Like, I know they're just releasing them again with Modern Warfare 3
Yes.
and that stuff. But yeah, just running in there, hours upon hours and hours playing to that. And you mentioned the skill set, like seeing the kill screen or the scoreboard at the end. Like, Charlie would be a little bit up here, and then, oh God, oh jeez, like I'm just gravitating at the bottom just because I would be run and gun. I'm just like, I'm going, and not a great strategy.
Yeah. and it is feel like, especially when you have, I mean, you can do this obviously with just one other person, but we would play Halo with about 4 or 5 people, and you could see consistently like the different types of gameplay style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, somebody likes to camp with a shotgun, and of course that infuriates people. Someone else is really good at sniper. Somebody else is really good at throwing like sticky grenades, and someone else is pretty much all around. So like, it is nice to see like different gameplay experiences, and even like with patches coming out. So I think of Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2. Early on, I feel like there was akimbo shotguns that just ruined the game. They were like sniper rifles, and not even realistic. I don't even know how someone could hold 2 of these and not break their wrist. But just hearing people scream about it, I think proximity chat was a new technology that came in, so you could even hear the enemy team during the game when you were close to them, and crap talking. Or, I mean, people honestly have had really wholesome experiences doing that too. Like, you come across somebody who's having a hard time with something, and they'll like help them. So it is really fun to see people play games very differently, and like you said, even when the skills level is just pretty different sometimes. Just the point of it is you're playing with people that you know, and you're having a fun time with it. Like, they might even be so bad that they're helping the other team, basically,
right?
And not even in your best interest. But it is fun just shooting the shit with people,
yeah,
online and playing with them. So
definitely, yeah. With Halo, like, this kind of is a bigger thing, but like Extra Life, that's a whole thing of, playing games with people, and that's been huge for me over these past few years. But like, Halo 3 used to be a staple, so we had 3 to 4 different stations and land them all together and play Halo that way. But just like opening up the event with that and shouting at each other just at the chaos of the random teams and jumping into that was always a blast. Not for Extra Life specifically, but like Halo 3 with Forge mode, dicking around in those maps where there was races, or I don't know, like the zombie mode, because you had to make it at that time. Like, that was always fun. And then Extra Life's just been crazy, just sharing those experiences, whether it's been doing tournaments and doing fighting games, or what did we do last year? Oh, like, not Tape to Tape, that's a indie hockey game, Super Blood Hockey, playing that, and doing a tournament there. Or
is that a like a 16-bit game or something?
Yeah, Super Blood Hockey, 16-bit hockey. We played it.
We played that.
We played it when you were here last time.
That was a lot of
fun.
that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
So yeah, diving into that, and then like even getting people, obviously Extra Life, try and do the people in person and have that energy to bounce off people. But like last year we did the online component, and like you joined us for Among Us and having that, and like none of us knowing what to do and just running around.
Fun though, yeah. Just everyone trying to figure it out at the same time too is a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoy. I have been to a few. Back when I lived in Charlotte, there were, I don't even know if the store is there anymore. There was a game store, but they had probably multiple tournaments. But my friend and I did join the Super Smash Bros. Tournaments, and probably got about halfway through before we would get knocked out. And always lose to somebody who just like destroys me with Peach, or something. I've only played one, to my knowledge. I've only played one proper like 16-player 4 Xbox LAN party with Halo. And it was so much fun. Like I mean, we look back at it now. Like, I mean, it might be easier to do now because TVs aren't as expensive, and they're not tube TVs. We got like thinner profile lengths, because going to your friend's house and hauling a television is not exactly realistic. So back when I was before me and Jamie got married, we were looking at different wedding options, and then COVID happened, so that of course switched the plan quite a bit. But one of the things I was originally thinking doing for like a bachelor party was a LAN party for Halo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that would have worked. I don't really have to think about that anymore, how that would have
Sure.
worked either, to get everyone together in one place to play that. Because, like, that's kind of the point of it. Of course, you can. Well, I guess the server's not there to play the first one online anymore. The Master Chief Collection still has online support. I'm not really. I don't. I feel like it doesn't, or maybe it does.
I want to say it does, but I don't know.
Okay. I'd be surprised if it did, considering how long it took for them to get Halo Infinite's multiplayer
sure
into a place that I think people have like. I don't super keep up with that anymore, but I've done the impression that had a pretty rocky launch as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously, like that part of that is just, yelling at your friend in the other room, getting mad at him for headshotting you, or someone running you over with a warhog, or that proximity was important for that gaming experience to really feel that. I mean, you can of course play those games online and have those pretty similar experiences too, but being able to like physically look at the person that you hate around the corner and be mad at them later on. So no, that was a weird time in technology where it was like this medium between like analog and digital, and they were trying to figure out what they could do with connecting people. And so like I do appreciate that. I'm sure there's people that still meet up and do similar things to that, like Counter-Strike, getting huge games together with all these PCs together and stuff too. So I'm sure those people are having a blast doing that too, like games of yesteryear, and just getting together and just playing nostalgic games with each other and sharing those experiences. It seems like a really good time.
Yeah, for sure. There's been countless hours Lady and I have lost to Fortnite just playing that over and over and over again, regardless of the result. And that
is something else I'll go in. I played for a little bit when it came out, and then I just did not touch it for years.
Sure.
And then my friend who actually moved to Japan, he's like, "Have you ever played Fortnite?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's right. That game's still around." And I mean, I really don't mind the game. I think I'm okay at it. It's funny. I say that because before he moved, we went to a arcade here that's called the Retrocade, and it has a lot of classic arcade games. And of course, I don't think this is so unusual, but they have like projectors up behind that they have like consoles that you can play games on. And they had Fortnite there on the Switch. He's like, "Why are you playing this here? Like, we can play this at home." I'm like, "I don't know. I just want to see how I do." And I won a game there.
Nice.
Like, me versus 100 people, and I thought my heart was going to jump out of my throat. No one else was really watching me. I mean, the place was pretty full, but like I probably reacted way stronger than anybody else cared to. They're like, "Oh, he's 13 years old, and he just won his first game." But it's fun playing with him. Like it's a game that he's getting into, and he lives there, and we don't play a lot of other games together. Maybe Rocket League here and there, but now we've been kind of getting to Fortnite here and there and playing that. It's fun.
Yeah.
Do usually lose though.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Sometimes how you lose is better than how you win.
Definitely.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Nice. I'm trying to think of anything else. Oh, well, you mentioned Smash, but like I've enjoyed Smash. I'm not like looking to compete or anything like that, but on the same aspect, fighting games I've really enjoyed. I'm trash online, but that's always been an experience, like sharing with TJ, for example, when we're both playing locally. Like, that's one of those things you mentioned, like everybody kind of on the ground floor learning together. I feel that's a good experience where we kind of push each other and we're both getting better at the game and learning things and picking up combinations or whatever. Like, I remember going down there to visit, I think it was around Mortal Kombat X's launch, and like we were playing that nonstop when we were down there.
That wasn't the same trip that Jamie came down with you, is it?
I don't think so. I think we definitely did play something then. That might have been Dragon Ball Fighters, which another great game. But I think this was one where I drove down because I think I brought my console, or I don't remember, because I remember that trip that you're talking about. That was when I flew from California, so I know I didn't bring anything there.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't know if I thought you flew to. I don't know if I thought you flew together, but okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. You were living out there, weren't you?
Yeah, there was one trip where we both met up.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I don't think we drove down together. I remember driving solo the last trip I did. But yeah, I don't remember remember. But yeah, whenever we were playing together, like that was a fun experience of like learning that together, picking up on things, improving, and just like you said, not getting mad at the competitive, but like getting into it. You're invested into it, and I think that's a healthy balance. Because yeah, you go online with some of these things, and you're like, I'm getting frustrated. That's not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I definitely we grew up in the time frame too, which I don't think they still have it at stores anymore. But my mom would go to Walmart or something, or Best Buy even, I guess, but she would do some shopping. I guess at Walmart makes more sense.
Mm.
I'm like, hey, we're going to be over in toys or electronics.
Sure.
That's where we're going to be at. And just sitting there, probably developing a neck hump, just looking
Oh
up at
yeah.
playing Killer Instinct was the first fighter game I played.
Mm-hmm.
I really did like that. And I think that was kind of like the counter to Mortal Kombat at the time a little bit.
Sure.
I feel like the time frame was similar and how it was set up. I mean, obviously they're both kind of side view, and it wasn't 3D or anything, but they just kind of had like colorful characters, like that looked. I don't know. It kind of just. I feel like maybe Killer Instinct, which obviously I think there was a remake actually. At some
I was
point.
gonna say, did you play that? Because it was amazing.
I did not play that. I wish I did.
Okay. All right.
One could argue though that if there was a competition there, that Mortal Kombat won. Of course, that was many more sequels to that game, and it had the audience for it. Killer Instinct just kind of was I don't know if it was a one-off. Maybe there was a sequel to the first one.
There were two.
I do feel like that was it? Was it Super NES?
You know what? Let's look this up. I don't recall. I thought it was N64 that it was on. Oops.
I don't know.
Let's see. Fighting game originally created by Rare and Midway. Oh, really? Published by Midway. Same publisher for Mortal Kombat. Original KI was released for arcades in 94. You're right. And then released for the Super Nintendo and Game Boy in 95. Killer Instinct 2 was released in arcades for 96. And then Killer Instinct Gold was released for the 64. And then, 2013 for Xbox One was the reboot.
Goodness, yeah, we didn't even really get into like arcade games, like playing it at the arcade. That was expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Yeah, it's really enjoyed that too. We had a place here called down in Greenville where I live, called Frankie's Fun Park, and it's probably the same as most places. Have you been there?
Yeah, we went randomly one trip. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, they have like
the go-karts and the arcade.
Different go-karts. I think it might arcade, and it has like honestly a really impressive like laser tag course that was like 2 stories or something.
Oh wow! Okay.
Of course, I think the last time I played, I was just getting murked by like an 11-year-old.
Sure.
But yes, going there and spending so much money and just playing Crazy Taxi, Hydro Thunder, NFL Blitz, Tekken was really. I will say it's probably the fighting game I played the most was Tekken.
Okay.
I won't pretend that I understood the story.
Sure. I mean, most fighting games.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I like Tekken. I think 7 or 8, and then Tag Tournament came out. I had a lot of fun with those. I don't think I'm really good at them. Like I know some people like really enjoy. I think you enjoy this quite a bit. Those mechanics and that.
I'm definitely more 2D fighter. Like I've tried Tekken, like Soul Calibur back in PS2 era. I really liked a lot.
Right.
But yeah, Tekken I'm trash at. So.
You ever play Power Stone on the Dreamcast?
I've watched a lot of it from one of my streamers I watch, Maximilian Dude. Him and his friends play it occasionally, but I never personally played Power Stone. But I've heard good things.
It was hard for me. I feel like it was one of the. I mean, it probably wasn't, but for me, it was one of the first games that kind of introduced a 3D battle arena, which was. It just took my problems with the fighting game into another dimension.
Sure.
I did even worse with it. Like, I need another axis to do well with. So, no, but the same way with like a lot of different games that have like really technical skills. Like I have always like admired people's like technicality with like coordination and learning combos and defenses and reading people. So that is pretty cool. I do like that they're around, even if it's not for me.
I should have probably asked this last topic. How do you feel about Soulsborne games? Your thing? Not your thing?
Soul. I don't know what that is. You mean?
Oh, okay. Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne,
Oh,
Sekiro, those kind of
okay,
stuff.
never mind. I do know of them. I've not played them. I'm under the impression that they're pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
They've been like, I heard they're really easy. Walk in the park. My friends keep trying to get me into them. No. I really don't think this is even in the same vein as that kind of gameplay, but I think the closest thing I've played to something like that was like a higher difficulty of like Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it can be really like punishing
Sure.
for any mistakes you make, and like sometimes like a single like gameplay mode where like if you die, there's no checkpoints, you gotta start over again.
Sure.
That's kind of like permadeath modes and stuff. I do see some gameplay for them. They also look very intense and a lot of fun, but
Yeah.
I'm a pretty patient person. I don't know how I would feel about playing something like that and just and not getting the result I want.
Sure. If you've played, because you mentioned Survivor earlier, I assume you've played Fallen Order.
Yes, I played.
Okay.
Yes,
that would probably be a very good comparison, especially like early on in Jedi Fallen Order, like how you're kind of getting slapped a little bit here and there.
Yeah,
that would probably be like Soulsborne like.
I do feel like I used to be better at games than doing parrying. But I don't know if I'm just getting worse at it with my timing or something. But I know that's an important mechanic in a lot of those games, like counterattacks and stuff. So no, I've never played those any of that genre really.
Sure.
Game. So we'll see. One day you'll just get a text message from me. It's gonna be like, I hate you.
Yeah. What is this?
Like, I'm just really mad. Thanks. I lost a year or two of my life. Veins pop. I'll just send you a picture of this vein on my forehead popping out or something. There you go. No, I'll probably give them a try at one point. I'm sure they'll be available on something for free or whatever.
Sure.
Like I don't know if it's not something I would normally pay for or not, but no, I definitely see they look pretty cool.
Yeah, at least dip your toe into it. It's one of those ones like I want to be better at, just because the worlds that they are built in are just so fantastic. Like Bloodborne's very interesting with that gothic horror. I think the one I got the farthest into was Sekiro, which is like samurai-esque. That one was really good, and I'd like to try that again. Elden Ring was pretty accessible, or at least a little bit more accessible, because with that, it's the open world mechanic. So you have that freedom of like, I'm getting really destroyed by this guy. I'm going to go somewhere else. Whereas the others, it's not super streamlined, like one path, but you don't have as much flexibility as like an Elden Ring.
Okay.
But yeah, they're really fun. Speaking of TJ loves those games. Like, he's obsessed with Elden Ring. And then there's a recent one, which isn't made by FromSoft, but it's the same genre, Lies of P. It just came out, which is like Pinocchio in like a dark gothic world. But apparently that one's good.
Well,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it spelled P-I?
No, so it's Lies of the letter P.
Okay. I'm like, am I have I been getting Life of Pi mixed up this entire time with this game?
No, it's not that tiger movie.
We saw very different movies. It's like there's a kid like in the ocean with a tiger at one point, and I'm like, you're like, no, it's Pinocchio. It's Pinocchio. I'm like, oh, I got the wrong movie. Yes. No, I it's weird. Like those kind of games do really it's exactly what you said. Like the world of those games really entices me. I don't. You kind of get that a little bit with like some like more of the open world aspect of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, but obviously that's not as hardcore or as I don't know if it's RPG-ish. Or there are obviously stats for and buffs you can give your character for certain types of attacks and this and that, but I wouldn't say it's on the same level of those kind of games. Like I mean, I never even played any of the Elder Scrolls games.
Okay.
Somehow, I don't know how I just completely missed like Skyrim.
Sure. Yeah. How could you? With everybody talking.
I don't. It is like pretty much every person all my friends growing up that played games have played it like several times. And,
sure.
Maybe one day. I just what I want to do is just be like 58 years old and just text everybody, be like, "Have you heard of this game?" And be like, "Yeah, brother. They're on like Elder Scrolls like 12 now. Like, you need to catch up." Um, yeah, I mean, goodness, I don't know. It's just I wish I as much as I like playing games, I just don't feel like I have the time to get to as many of them as I want to. There's just so many of
Oh
them,
yeah.
but that's good, of course. That there's just a little bit of something different for everybody. I think games have, and it's really cool too. It's another thing I didn't even think about really until recently. Like you see the different controller setups now for people like adaptive, the different accessibility options for
Yeah.
players.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the menus for things with like color blindness or sensitivity issues with like controllers and stuff. I am really glad to see that kind of um, thought from developers go into like their games they're making, because I mean, of course you want to see anybody have fun with your game. I mean, there's some things that God didn't intend, like people playing like they like use the drums from DK's like
The conga
bongo
beat.
game,
Yep.
whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they like hack into the, and like they use it to like play Final Fantasy or something,
Yep.
and like they're incredibly good at it. I'm like, that's straying from God's light. I don't know how you're doing this or whatever, but I don't think that's the accessibility that they're talking about. But
Sure.
that being said, like I really do like seeing new control designs come out and different gameplay mechanics that like really are supportive for um, different kinds of people to play, because that is nice when it's with any. If I were a game developer, I would like to see anybody that wants to enjoy my game be able to enjoy it. So
100%.
that is nice. That is nice to see them like reaching out and trying to cross that divide and help everyone that can.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, nice. Very beautiful topics about video games. So now, chat, viewers, listeners, if this is your first time catching the podcast, first of all, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. If you don't know, when I have a guest on for the first time, I like to take them through the lightning round of questions, just so you guys get to know them a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Justin a series of questions. First answer that pops to his head, that's what we're going to get. Justin, anything you want to elaborate on, you're more than welcome to, but you don't have to. If you just want to leave it as your answer, you can do that. Nothing too difficult. Are you ready, good sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Favorite color?
I'm gonna say orange.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
As I say, as two of them are laying on my feet.
They're like, you better say it.
Yeah, there's a gun on me. They don't, you don't know. They've got the laser pointer in their hand,
Yep.
pointed at my forehead. I'm like, answer, Justin.
Favorite
Yeah.
favorite game?
Favorite game? It honestly probably is The Last of Us Part 2. Just really liked. I'll admit, I cried several times during that game. I really liked, like I said before, like how much it pushed the boundaries of like what you expect from a narrative. It wasn't afraid of doing something risky, and I just really appreciated that kind of that experience. I don't know, like it just I played it right when COVID happened. We were all inside, and so on the one hand, it was a little devastating to not be able to like go out and like hug someone after that. But no, that I honestly probably the best gaming experience I've ever had is that. Like I just feel like it was. I'm sure it has flaws, of course, but everything felt really well executed. You can tell it was someone's like baby, and they made that. So yeah.
Favorite movie?
It's a more recent one, and I'm not quite. I feel like most people have maybe seen it by now, but I really, really did enjoy Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Okay.
Before that, I probably would have said something along the lines of like Interstellar, which I still really hold in high regard to. But I know I found it like really. It took a thing that's not been. It's been kind of a common theme now with like multiverse stuff with like Marvel and different comic kind of minded aspects. But it had like its own fun take on that, and it really pushed like this really strong narrative with like family, especially families of minority groups. And I definitely knew some people that like probably resonated even more with that because they belong to those minority groups.
Sure.
But I don't know. I cried during that too. Like it was such a weird movie and experience, but I really I don't know, it just hit me pretty hard. Like I walked out of the movie and I think I said to Jamie, I'm like, "Is that the best movie I've ever seen?"
Hmm.
I think it is. Like I bought it and I've just let anyone borrow it that I can think of, and it's like basically walking up to me like, "Hey, my name's Justin. Here's this movie. You should watch it." So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's probably my favorite movie
All right.
as it stands.
Favorite type of music?
Synthwave.
Okay. Favorite song?
There's a band called Pianos Become the Teeth. They probably play a little bit more what you would, I guess the genre would probably be post-hardcore, which sounds heavy.
Hmm.
And while some of their music might be a little bit, the song I'm thinking of is called "Say Nothing," and it has like a really long outro. Um, and I don't know, the lyrics are just kind of atypically soft for a band like them too. So I don't know if it's just because that song is different from them compared to most of their stuff, but um, coincidentally, they also have a song called "Repine," which
Hmm. Hmm.
how often do you find
Right.
a song that has your last name in it too? So that's actually how I found the band, and then I was exploring their catalog and found that song. So that's probably my favorite song, I think.
Okay. What was your dream job when you were a kid?
I think architect.
Hmm. All right. If you could have any animal to be a pet, what would you have?
She's not looking, but her ears are back. Um, practicality aside, from like me being able to
Sure,
like
this is anything.
meet its needs, the environment it needs. Like I've always really liked. I'm trying to think of there's like of course there is a technical like um, white fur seals.
Oh, okay.
Like those really cute seals that just have the white fur. I'm sure there's a name for like Arctic seal or something like
Sure.
that. But they're just like sea puppies.
Mm-hmm.
They're super cute. I've always really liked them. Yeah.
All right. If you could meet one celebrity, alive or dead, who would it be?
Bay Arthur. She was she played Dorothy in Golden Girls.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've always really liked her. I watched a little bit when I was younger, and then me and Jamie honestly went through the entire series like a year ago, and so good. Pretty progressive for a movie at the time, or a show rather. Obviously involves like four older women, and so like they kind of dealt with some things like ageism and femininity, and social issues here and there. Like I mean, like a lot of sitcoms like would push maybe something was going on like about racism or women's rights, and they would like have episodes that highlighted those like kind of specific issues. So that wasn't so different in that formula, but she had like a really um, very funny character to me. She kind of gives me I'm not sure if you'll know who this character is, but Lily Tomlin vibes, who is still alive. She does a lot of films now with Jane. I can't think of her name. Oh my goodness, she was in Grace and Frankie, the show. It was on Netflix as well, and it kind of in the same vein dealt with ageism. Two older women in their lives, and but so that being said, though, still probably Bay Arthur because she's not with us anymore. There's still a chance for me to have to meet Lily Tomlin, I guess, technically.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know who I am, but whatever.
There's a chance. Favorite season?
Fall, autumn.
Favorite holiday?
It probably is Christmas. Not that you asked, but like obviously growing up, I didn't have we didn't do holidays. It was based off of the faith I had. So
Sure.
like 20 so years or so, that was not really a question I had an opinion on.
Mm-hmm.
And some people would ask me if I like resented that, which I don't particularly. I mean, you often are the faith of your parents,
Sure.
and that is what that is. But now growing up, or now being the age that I am, and um, having a partner who has a pretty big family, especially a really quiet aunt named
Very quiet.
Your mother,
Yeah.
very quiet, suspiciously so. I do enjoy going up and seeing her family. Like my family, of course, doesn't still really do any holidays at all. So I do really enjoy coming up for Christmas there, and Not to say we don't get snow here, but of course it is really pretty up there, and getting to see everyone laugh and get to catch up with each other, like that is feel good to me. I mean, I'm sure obviously she loves it too, but I love seeing her happy with her family and friends, and you've all been really accepting and inviting to me too. So that's always nice to feel that too. So yeah, I mean, Christmas probably for
Nice.
sure.
What is a skill you wish you could have?
I'm trying to think if this is a skill. I wish I was better at swimming.
Okay. Yeah, that's a skill.
I can swim, not very well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it does us any good if Jamie is drowning and I jump in.
Sure.
She's a way better swimmer than me too, but there's a guilt aspect of like if I just sat there and didn't do anything, or do we both dive in and die?
Mm.
Yes, probably swimming. Yeah, like I'm sure there's a ton of other things that would be nice too, but that just seems like the most practical, and I feel like I would alleviate some guilt of um, being able to help out in some scenarios in case of an emergency. And plus, going to people like going up north and the lake and stuff, and everyone's having a really good time on the lake. I can kind of swim, but not too well. So I wish I guess I wish I can enjoy that better. So I need to go to the Y and take some adult swimming classes.
Okay, that's good.
My parents taught my 3 siblings how to swim, and I guess they thought that they would say we'd all live together. We'd all live together forever, and they're like, Justin, you don't need to know. Like they'll always be there to save you or something.
Sure.
They gave up on the 4th kid. Whatever. I'm obviously not bitter about it.
No, not at all. No. Not the holiday thing, the swimming thing.
Yeah, that's right. It's very different. For Christmas, I want swim lessons.
Yeah.
You can't have either of those.
All right, last question for you. What is a piece of media you recommend people check out?
I'm gonna plug Allie Ward here. I don't listen to podcasts as much as I would like to, but I also don't have the work environment that allows me to be able to like listen to music or which I do sometimes here and there now, but as much as like some other people do, they work alone and they can just play what they want to. But so that being said, I feel like a friend at work recommended her to me, and so she does this podcast called Ologies, and it is kind of what it sounds like. It's just different, the study or sciences of different things. So this host will have different people on, and it's I mean, some things that are just like really common, like about oceans or fossils or dinosaurs or the cosmos, to some really bizarre things about like I'm trying to think pumpkins or science of like squid or procrastination, like all these different things that, like, I mean, if it exists, there's usually a science behind it or people trying to understand how it works. So it's just, I will often, I've listened, it's a big catalog that I'm going through, and I'm trying to catch up with it. But even an episode that I normally would look at the topic for it and think that this isn't for me, I find myself at the end of the episode being like, I'm really glad I listened to that, because she did a really good job of like ask really good questions to smart people, and I'm obviously a proponent of learning new things too. So I've just really been enjoying that podcast series. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, just like I think it's really well done, and there's just so many different topics about it. Like the nature of it is like I think almost anybody could find something with it that really catches their interest, even if you just like scroll through and look for a topic that you like. So, yeah.
Very nice. Awesome. Well, everybody, this has been another episode of The Wait Where We Talk About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma 911, and today I was once again joined by Justin. Justin, thanks for hopping on today, man. Very fun episode.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Everyone, if you guys want to catch the podcast live and go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011, you could drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you can join on the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. You can go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you could support, shares, likes, reviews, subs, whatever it is. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Justin, once again, thanks for hanging out today, doing this podcast. You did a fantastic job, good sir.
Thanks.
Everybody, thanks for checking out today's episode. Thanks for watching, giving this a listen, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.